So thank you everyone for joining. We have today a kind of a behind the scenes look at the Leapsome HRIS actually. So I originally knew I originally knew Leapsome as being, a talent management tool and kind of engagement tool. It's actually got a HRIS. So everyone who didn't know that, Leapsome have a HRIS, and that's what we're looking at today. So very happy to have Sophie here to show us around. Hi, Sophie. Thanks for joining.
Thanks so much for having me.
I'm excited to see this. And we also have a co-host. Well, I always have a co-host. And I have G, also Geraldine is actually her name, but G is how she goes by. She is a people consultant. She has a business helping you do all sorts of things to do with people topics. She's an chief people officer. So we're really happy to have her here. Make sure you go and follow her on LinkedIn because she's got wonderful content. She's also fabulous if you need to just have a chat. So I'm sure she's happy to have any kind of conversation you might want to have. So please make sure you reach out to her because I think she's fabulous. And thank you so much for joining.
Thank you so much. What a lovely intro. Can you just do this with me all the time, please? Yeah. Whenever I'm on, can you just come with me and just do that? That would be mega.
Well, we had such a wonderful conversation and we just how you just vibe with people. So I think sometimes also just having a chat with people who aren't in the business but have just been around a lot is really, really helpful. So I always recommend people to, reach out to those people that you see on LinkedIn. They're not scary. G's definitely not scary. So.
No. Please. Yeah, do. I'm such a LinkedIn tart as well. So literally send me a request and I will accept. Because it's nice because you meet people. Like this is how we met, right? We just connected and I love your post too. There's just a lot of love going on now. So it's like, love your post. No, I love your post, but it's true. It's great.
Others' posts. No, it's one of those things that it's like you get kind of lonely when you just do stuff on your own. And so I'm always like, I wish I had actually reached out as an in-house person to talk to companies like vendors, like getting to know them, looking through things, but also people who, you think they're these scary people online who don't want to talk to you, but actually everyone is so great in the HR community. So that's why we get co-hosts on to, talk with us, to get to know, but also so that the community can also get to know not just products, but people. So again, thank you both for joining. And we're going to jump straight into learning about what is this HRIS. Sophie, tell us a little bit about what is this thing that you have to show us today? Please tell us a little bit and then we can jump into actually seeing it.
Of course, yes, thanks. So I'll start from the beginning. Leapsome is kind of bringing together a reliable HRIS backbone, let's say, with best-in-class people enablement. So we're now showcasing kind of an all-in-one modern AI-powered platform. And with that, we're covering everything through the entire employee lifecycle. So from onboarding through to performance in our reviews module, to engagement with surveys, learning, development, compensation, and along the way, helping you to automate, connect, and simplify those HR processes, really, so that you can focus on what matters, which is your people, right? And the whole of Leapsome is a modular platform, so you can always start with what you need. You can start with the HRIS and then build on it, and we evolve with your company in that sense. But yeah, as you said, I'm focusing on the HRIS module today. This is something that we launched just over a year ago, and it's kind of become now the foundation of it all. So it covers, as you'd expect, absence management, your document handling, your payroll preparation and time tracking. And I think what's really cool is it connects seamlessly with the rest of the platform. So for example, when a new person joins your company, you can automatically enroll them into a learning journey through your onboarding workflow. So I think this seamless connection is something that's really, really cool to see. And onboarding surveys as well. This is something else that can go out now automatically. And the result then, I guess, is kind of a stronger foundation for growth, a platform that employees love to use and something that can empower managers. But most of all, I think, give HR leaders more time to not just do admin tasks, but also kind of like more time for strategic topics, I guess.
So Sophie, quick question for you. There are so many HRISs out there. There's a lot. And thank you for telling us the value that Leapsome brings. What makes you guys really special as opposed to any of the competitors out there? What sets you apart?
Sure, that's such a great question, G. I think one thing I always come back to is that I think HR leaders, HR managers now are expected to do so much more than just keep records, right? You're shaping culture, you're enabling your managers, you're really proving people impact to leadership. And I think what a tool like Leapsome can now do is kind of give you those data insights to share with leadership, because we have really powerful analytics in tool. It's also super easy to implement, easy to use. We've tried to make it as self-service as possible for employees. I think a lot of other HRIS that are out there, they focus a lot on the admin, right? So this is built for the HR managers, built for the admin. But we've tried to make our tool as self-service as possible so that it empowers employees and managers to also be something that they can use, and not just something that they log into to book their holiday, but also something, a place where they want to go and actually get their feedback, check in on their team's engagement. Yeah, I'm really, yeah. So
I think one of the benefits probably then is just that you have one login. Like, let's be honest.
Yes.
Everyone complains about like well, firstly, there's the integrations that I think, come with being an all-in-one. You don't have to have as many. Two, you only have to have one like representative as well, like you have one account manager, and three, you probably are just like logging into one tool, which I always think people complain about, like, we have so many tools. So just from that perspective, it's kind of cool to have, just added this, right?
I imagine cost as well, and you've got lots of different, and they're expensive, a lot of the HR tools. And when you're trying to actually justify that for budgets with CFOs at, the beginning of the financial year, if you've got a one-stop shop. I like what you're saying there as well about empowering the managers. So it's not just an HR thing that has to be done. You're giving the ownership to the people and helping them be part of that. Part of HR, really, that extension of HR, collaborative. Sounds brilliant. Can't wait to see it.
I know, that's what we all want. We want that HR's not HR, but HR's supporting the leadership and the managers to do their work. And I think that's where we need to move towards in the future. So I'd love to see what it looks like. Sophie, why don't you get it up and you can take us through a little bit about how the tool works. How do you want to take us through the tool?
Sure. So what I'm going to do, instead of showing you just the HRIS like feature by feature, I'm going to walk you through what it's actually like to experience it. So from the perspective of an employee, a new joiner, and we'll follow somebody called Kendrick, who is a new hire, and we'll go through his journey, and then I'll also go into why it's powerful for HR leaders as well. So let's try and share the screen. Hopefully I can pull up.
We'll see if tech works. We haven't had a lot of luck with tech, but we're hoping it does. Look, it's teching. We see it.
It's teching. Amazing. So hopefully we can see, this account of Kendrick. And we're starting right now. Let's imagine we are 1 week before Kendrick is joining a new company. And he's received his welcome email and he's logged into this section here. It's the pre-boarding portal. So he hasn't started at the company, but he already has this view of Leapsome. And with new hires in the past, maybe you've experienced like chasing details back and forth with emails or spreadsheets. But with Leapsome, Kendrick logs in before his first day and already has a task list here. So he can already sign his documents. He can upload his ID. He can provide some information. So think address, any personal info like his birthday, his t-shirt size for the company merch. He can already do that, so no HR emails are required, and many completed steps before day one are also.
I love a bit of pre-onboarding, because I think one of the successes is when your first day doesn't feel like your first day, because you can go in, you can be going, oh my goodness, I'm going to have just like an admin mountain to get through, and knowing you can chip away at that. If you're a bit OCD like myself and you like to be sort of ahead of the game with it, then that seems really powerful.
Sure.
Sorry, no, Sophie, you go. I was just going to ask a question, but I think you might answer it, so you go for it.
No, I was just going to build on what you were saying, Gia, because if we go down a little bit further in this portal, we get this nice welcome message, a quick video to introduce the company. We can see here who Kendrick's manager will be. So I think it's a really nice way to get him feeling engaged and excited about joining the company. And he, in his profile as well, he can write a short bio to introduce himself to the team. So yes, on one side, HR has less manual work to do because this pre-boarding journey is automated. But on the other side, Kendrick is feeling really taken care of before he even starts his first day.
That's great. And from maybe the admin side, I was going to ask, does it trigger like, you know, when it's obviously, it has to be set up, you know, you get hired, and then this like profile does it get automatically pushed? Is it from a template, and does it do some kind of communication, or what kind of like automation would that do at the beginning for me as like a people ops who usually would have to set up all of this and whatever it is it templatizable? Is it that kind of stuff?
Sure. So you can build out the pre-onboarding portal as many times as you like. Maybe you want to change it for different roles or different teams, but it's basically super easy and intuitive to put together. There's a space for your tasks, there's a space for your videos, your team, and then it's kicked off using a trigger with a workflow. So this part is automated, and all of these tasks then linked through the onboarding workflow, let's say, and assigns tasks to maybe managers as well to tell them that they have a new joiner coming. It can also set up a checklist for IT to make sure that a new laptop is being set up for Kendrick and so on. So the onboarding workflow will be the automated part, and it will take care of every task needed, including what Kendrick needs to do here.
And do you integrate with some of the ATSs, so it's not a big like clunky download from Greenhouse or whichever other provider and then trying to move it into, is that quite easy to do?
Exactly, we integrate with over 20 ATS systems at the moment, so Ashby, Greenhouse, Teamtailor, some of the popular ones, and this would already then also pull in or kind of create the user account in Leapsome for you as well. So this is a really seamless integration, pulling some data in already as well.
And then maybe that's what's coming next, but you said you've got document e-signature or something, or does that have e-signature?
Yeah, so what I'm going to do now is going to fast forward a little bit. I need to change my screen, so let's make sure I can share the right one, which I think is here. Hopefully you can now see.
Yep, we can.
Okay, now I can. Okay, perfect. So we've now fast forwarded to Kendrick's first week. Okay, so what's happening now is we're a little bit more populated on the Leapsome side. We can see more in the menu. And all of his employee information that he would have just entered is sitting here in his profile in this info section. So we've got personal, job information, document history, all in one place. And again, what's great here is that this is self-service. So in a case where Kendrick wants to update his phone number, he can just find the phone attribute, change his phone number by himself, and this will then get sent to HR or to the manager for their approval. Now, obviously, you might be thinking, hang on, what about some more sensitive data, right? Like compensation or visa type. We don't want Kendrick to be jumping in and changing his salary. So for this case, custom access roles then control who can edit these fields. So HR managers then stay in control, but employees also have that autonomy to update their own information when it's necessary. And another cool thing, if HR teams need to update something that will take effect next month, they can actually use this like scheduled changes feature. So I can set a date for this change to be effective. Maybe it's a change to a department or a new manager that's taking place in a few weeks, and then Leapsome will take care of it then. Any questions on that bit so far?
No, it makes a lot of sense.
All good.
Awesome. Now, back in the Leapsome profile, as a new joiner, Ken probably has many questions, right? How many vacation days do I get? What's the office dress code and so on? And instead of writing like lengthy Slack and email threads, Kendrick can just ask Leapsome's AI copilot here about those questions. So let's see what the office dress code is. And here he gets like an instant natural language answer with no bottlenecks, and the copilot can automatically understand documents and company information that you give to it. So it can kind of act as a coach for your employees as well, which I think is really nice.
And does that integrate with like a Notion or Confluence, or is it something that you have to upload to your central database? And how does that get maintained?
So what you would do is upload a company handbook or office guidelines or something to Leapsome as a company document, a public document, and then you can decide if Leapy, the copilot, can read those documents or not. In the future, we are looking at building that out to kind of connect with other tools, so that the copilot is connected to like your Notions and your Slack and some other your other tech stack. But for now, it's just based on documents that you upload.
And does Leapsome have templates that you could you could use, or is it down to you to create those documents? So say, for instance, if you're a smaller company, a startup, you're just building up all of this documentation, is there a resource available that you can use?
Sure. So we don't have a template in platform for those sort of documents and resources. But in our Knowledge Hub, in our website, we have a bunch of information on how you can kind of get started with some of those processes. And especially if you're doing it for the first time and you're trying to use a new tool to do it. We have some guidance there on what you can do to set up those.
That could be an interesting feature to like pull some of that like knowledge you have and then create like, here's a template for you to like think about as a baseline that you can then customize to your company, you know, like rather than having to switch out. That could be something quite cool, actually.
Yeah, it's like almost like an open source thing as well, because I'm thinking like Progression AI, they have their open source career pathways. You could almost have documents, you know, like that. You know, for handbooks, etc., if people were willing to share it, obviously with legal nuances in different countries, etc. That may be why it hasn't been done before, you know. But yeah, that's there we go. Some product development ideas there, Sophie.
We're just throwing them out. No, but it's also good because I think like all of these, I mean, the power of, I think also with Leapsome and, you know, companies that, you know, all the companies that I try to work with, they're always open to feedback and they want to build something useful. So it's like, you know, people, it's helpful to have this kind of information, but obviously this is really helpful anyway. And then it's just like, I think there's more coming anyway that you said, right, with your AI copilot. So yeah, very cool. Sorry, we don't want to interrupt your flow. Please can let us know what's happening with Kendrick next.
No worries. Yeah, no, and also one thing to note is that I think that the AI Leapy is already connected to some of our knowledge hubs. So there's this feature request and tool development that you come up with is already somewhat in the making. So we're just building on that. So really, really cool. But yeah, I think let's next, in the interest of time as well, let's see what Kendrick might have to do to, for example, take a holiday day. Very important to most employees. So as we can see here, taking an absence is really easy to do. We can either use the absence module over here, or he can request an absence directly in the platform. And we simply select the right vacation policy. Let's say we're going to take some time off last day of October, and automatically our remaining balance is sent to us. We can write a comment if it's necessary and also add an attachment. So when sick leave letters are appropriate, we can add that here. Saving that will then automatically send a notification to Kendrick's manager to approve it. And this will also update your calendars, your records, your balances, which is all kind of connected then to the payroll section as well. And HR, meanwhile, can then define different regional rules for these absence policies, different carryover limits, different public holiday calendars. So it all stays compliant in that sense.
Who, can I ask, what companies do you serve for these? Because obviously there's like hundreds of countries out there with all different policies. Having been there and done that for like 20 different countries, you realize how different they are. What kind of is it like the standard European ones? Is it like focused on Germany, or what kind of rules do you kind of support, or is it very flexible in that you can kind of create anything?
It's exactly that, yeah. So we already have set up, we have built-in holiday calendars, let's say, for most European countries and the US as well. But you can also customize one. So even if there's like a special day that your company takes off for a particular event or something, you can add it into this calendar and they can see it. So it's very customizable.
Mm-hmm. And is that the same with like carryover and like leave days and stuff? Because obviously like how people's leave, you know, some people have these some countries have very complicated leave systems.
Yes, yeah, I think so far with customers that I work with, I haven't come across one that's super complex that's not able to be done in Leapsome, so that must be a good thing. But yeah, we're always kind of like taking in product feedback as well. It's something that we're very developing quickly. So if there was once was a scenario where we needed to make something complex, and it's kind of like we can build that up.
For setups, I mean, this might be a how long is a piece of string question, but I mean, for setups, how long does it normally take? I mean, what does it depend on the size of the company? I mean, what are the sizes of the companies that you usually work for? So many questions.
Yeah. Sure. Do you mean to kind of like implement the HRIS?
Yeah, so to actually get it kicked off, how long does it take roughly for a standard size customer of yours? There you go, that's far better articulated in a sentence.
Yeah, so I'd say it's hard to say, to be honest, because it does depend very much on the setup and which modules you choose. And a lot of customers as well want to move away from other systems, and then there's that transition from other systems. But we help you. We actually have a dedicated onboarding team that supports you with this. So these team members have seen it all before in that sense. They've transferred a lot of data from A to B. And we normally say around, I think the average, let's say, is 6 weeks at the moment. And that also depends which modules you want to prioritize and how much data you've got to pull over from another system. But we've also had companies that kind of started from scratch, and they didn't have an HRIS before. So this is, again, affects the timeline, but yeah, I'd say an average of 6 weeks, sometimes a couple of months.
And I think that's, I think it's important to note with like implementations that people think like, oh, how am I going, like, I just want it going. And like, you can definitely get modules going and like data, but if you want to set up proper workflows and help yourself later, like take the extra 2 weeks to set up your automations, your workflows, your like all the stuff that's going to make your life easier in the future. Like, don't try and be like, the fastest isn't always better. Like doing it in 2 weeks versus 6 weeks, like cool. But then you're probably not getting everything set up properly. And I always tell people like, don't be scared of implementation taking a little bit of time, because it's also like, how much do you have to defined up front? Do you have your workflows defined, or are you defining them as you implement? There's a lot of things that goes into implementation that I'm like, people don't think about. And so I always like, when you hear 6 weeks, don't be scared. That doesn't mean you won't be using any of the system. It doesn't mean that it's scary. It means that you're doing a complete and proper quality, likely implementation, right? And I've been there and done that and not implemented fully, and then it hurts you later. Like, it's just no point. Just don't rush it. Don't rush it, everyone. Don't rush it.
Hear you. I'm totally with you on that, Jessie. If you've got something, you throw it over the fence, it will break on the other side. 100%. You lose the credibility of the whole implementation. It's
exactly
just not
like
worth it.
No one's winning an award for like being up and running in 1 week for a tool that is not fully like it doesn't make any sense.
No.
Great, then let's keep going, because we've got about we're going to go over by a couple of minutes. It'll be on YouTube later for anyone who needs to jump, but we're going to keep going. And maybe we have a funny sound in the background who needs to mute, but Riverside has an issue with funny sounds.
Nice. Yes.
All right.
Perfect. So yeah, back into Kendrick's kind of first couple of weeks, then we can see we have a little bit of paperwork to do. We've got a document ready for signature. So Leapsome has a whole document management system where we can take care of your public and your private documents. And yeah, if we jump into this one, hopefully you can still see my screen now with the document, and we can add an e-signature to this and sign it directly in Leapsome. It's all compliant, and then it's stored in the platform. So anything like a data privacy policy or contracts even, or salary adjustment letters can all be managed in Leapsome as well. And now I think we've kind of seen a good glimpse of what Kendrick experiences when he is starting a company or starting at the company, but maybe we can now quickly jump into the admin side, because I really want to show you the reporting and analytics, which I think is super important. So for that, I'm going to have to jump into the sandbox, and maybe Jessie, you can tell me if you can now see me working as Leslie Leapsome.
Yep, we can.
Amazing. Okay, cool. So yeah, quick pivot then to the admin kind of setup of this, and naturally we can set up your absence policies, your payroll policies, your documents, things like that. This is all done in back end, and something that our team will very much support you with during the onboarding. But the dashboards and analytics is really built to be super customizable, very visual, and this one is really easy to set up, all pulled from your HR data. So as super admin, you will find a dedicated analytics tab here, and this is where all of your data across Leapsome's modules comes together, and you can actually create your own dashboard. So let's have a look at this demographics one. Here you can build out anything from kind of headcount growth to attrition to some DEI metrics, average salary across teams, and it was all powered by data in the HRIS. You can also choose how some of these widgets are visualized. So if you want to see this as a table, you can move it to a table. If you want to see it as a different type of chart, you can. And because we have really nice advanced filters like time frame or team or lifecycle status here, you can really break down and zoom in on what you really want to see out of these analytics. and then obviously share that with different visibility groups. So maybe your leadership team need to see X, Y, and Z, or maybe the whole org needs to see some of these metrics, and you can share that with them accordingly, whether that's downloading it to a PDF or sharing it directly in the tool. Everybody can see the kind of summarized, visualized, shareable dashboards in Leapsome. So this one is also, really been a hit so far with the customers that are using HRIS.
Very cool. I also have to say, I do like the colors. Like, I don't know, something about it's just visually appealing. So good job on that, at least to me. Maybe some people not, but for me, I think it's quite pretty. Not everything is quite so modern and pretty looking. So cool. Very, very nice. Any questions, G?
Yeah, so in terms of sort of getting this data, collecting this data, how often does the system refresh so it is as current to the beat as possible?
Yeah, good question. So it kind of updates in real time. So if we had 5 new joiners start tomorrow, then from tomorrow, this data will kind of, based on the time frame that you choose, it will kind of update the widgets automatically. But you can also edit them, to split them by different filters as well, depending on what it is you want to look at. But it's real-time updates.
And I like how you can modify and you create your own reporting there. Are there templates that are kind of off the shelf that you can use and then tinker around with?
Yes, great question. So the growth, demographics, absence, and payroll dashboards are already in Leapsome for you to use, and it will be connected to your data, if that makes sense. So this is actually already in your platform if you use the HRIS, and will pull in this data for you. If you, for example, if you don't want to see this metric or you want to move it to a different place, you can totally customize that. But this template already exists. So does the demographics ones, and so do the absence reports as well.
Is there push notifications with this as well? So you could get a report every Monday morning on X, Y, and Z by email?
Sure. That's a great question. I think at the moment it's manually pushed. I don't think there's like an automation, but maybe I just haven't thought about it properly, or it's a great idea. Maybe I'll pop it into our product team.
Put it in. Final question from me? What is the size of company that you usually work with? The head count. What stage do people start going, actually, we should get this or something similar?
Sure. You know what? It's a real mix. I work with companies in the kind of SMB category, so that's anything from 150 to 300 employees, but we also have customers with employee numbers in the thousands, and we also have very small companies of like 31 headcount. So it really is very open. I don't think there's a majority there, I guess.
But still small mediums. It's rather small medium than enterprise. Like, it's rather not 10,000. It's rather your kind of 500 to 1,500 kind of range, I would say. And then you probably have outliers, like you said, down like a little bit lower in the 100s. And it probably just also depends, because you've already got the Leapsome, you had the Leapsome enablement first and then HRIS. So you've probably got a lot of customers, I imagine, that transferred from your enablement space. So it's quite interesting. But yeah, very, very cool to see the platform. So we are out of time, so I don't want to keep anyone too long. What we're going to do is wrap up. I'm going to say thank you so much, Sophie, for joining us and sharing all about the HRIS you've got at Leapsome. It was very great to see that. I hadn't seen it before. This was my first time, so that's why, also G's first time. That's why we both had a lot of questions and diving in. So thank you for showing us around. That was really great.
Lovely. Thank you. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and thank you, G, for joining me as always. Lovely to see you. Appreciate your insights there. And if anyone would like to, oh no, my son has just woken up. If anyone would like to reach out to Leapsome, they can just check them out on Stacked. You can reach out to Sophie or find them on LinkedIn. However, their team's very open to chat, so please go check it out if you're in for an HRIS. And of course, we will see you very soon for the next one.
See you soon.